don't you just hate it when you're sitting in class, teacher already started to give their lesson, you're paying attention, it's gonna be one of those days, and all of a sudden, that one kid walks in late and just disrupts the whole class. Just the fact that he was late disrupted the entire class, changed your focus. It's just the worst. I was always that kid. I could never be on time for anything. Now, as we all get older, us college-age kids, high school-age kids, going into the real world, we can't afford to be late anymore. Our actions have consequences, and showing up late won't go unpunished. This is personally my biggest flaw, so this is why I'm giving my speech on it. Now, the problem with being late is, in the real world, being late has consequences. Now, my first experience with this was at JCC. So at JCC, I made my schedule in May. It's the summer before my freshman year. I don't know what's going on. I'm not responsible enough to go check my email every day or respond to voicemails or listen to my voicemails. So eventually it's like August, mid-August, almost time for me to go, and my mom logs on to pay the rest of the bill for JCC. And she gets on, my account says 0. She's like, perfect, I don't know anything. Well, it turns out that JCC dropped me because I failed to respond and pay by the deadline. So that was my first experience with the real world, and deadlines, they aren't suggestions anymore. You can't just turn things in late. If something's due and it's due, you gotta have it in now, or many times people won't take it. You could get in trouble for it now. Taxes, a very important thing, you have to have done by a certain date, or you could go to jail. So now, how do you fix that? How do you fix being late? You fix it by working on your time management. For me, time management, I gotta have it mapped out, scheduled. As soon as I wake up, I gotta have things planned. I gotta stick to it. And you gotta give yourself a buffer window, because things happen, stuff comes up. Obviously, everything isn't gonna go by schedule, but if you plan for things, you're generally more likely to get them done on time, to be there on time, because you're just ready for certain things to happen. Now, in high school, I had the worst time management. For chemistry, it was a subject I hated, and we had to do labs. So a lab is, you come down and you sit at a table with this group and some stupid thing that has to do with the class. And then once you're done, you have to write this huge report in high school about it and staple it to your work and turn it in by a certain date. I turned one chemistry lab in on time. And that was the very first one that we all did as a class, and we all handed it in together. My chemistry teacher was not my biggest fan. She, sweetest lady, loved me. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have passed. But because of her, and her letting me skate by and constantly turn in labs late, it encouraged me to continue to do that, and I formed the habit all year. Now, come springtime baseball season, that's not always the most fun conversation you want to have with your coach. Oh, I've been out sick 2 weeks with mono, and now I gotta stay and miss practice with my teacher because I haven't been doing my labs. Not something you really want to talk about. So, what's benefits of being on time? Well, I don't know about you guys, but personally, when I turn an assignment in on time and get it done early, there is no greater relief. Just knowing that you don't have the responsibility, it's done, it's over with, it's off your shoulders. When you have time management like that, as a person, you're generally more positive, you're more responsible, and you're a trustworthy person. Your punctuation has effect on other people. You being late to an event doesn't just affect yourself. So it affects others. Other people aren't, if you're a guy that's late, they're not really going to want to rely on you to be on time. And that's annoying when you have that one person that keeps showing up late. So it's not a good thing. Lastly, I'm going to close here with a story. My junior year, I had pre-calc with a teacher named Ms. Pond. Now, Ms. Pond did not like me that much. She was not my biggest fan. I did not like her that much. I didn't like her because of her teaching style. Flipped classroom isn't really my thing, but that's the way she went. Her and I butted heads with that. She didn't like me because I was always late. Now, junior year, 180 days of school. Out of those 180 days, I was tardy to her class and my study hall, which are my two first classes my junior year. I was tardy a total of 127 times. 127 times I walked in late to pre-calc or study hall. Now, my study hall teacher obviously didn't care because it's study hall. There's no importance. But at the time, in high school, I didn't really see the problem. Just walk in, open the door, sit down, quiet, I didn't harm anything. But I'm missing material by coming late. And it only hurt myself. Also, it distracted everyone in the class. One thing she was never really good at, she wasn't really quiet about it, so she made a bigger deal than it was. So if she caused some of the distraction, that's another conversation. But all in all, being late in the real world is different than being late in high school. Being late in the real world has consequences. You have people that rely on you, you have responsibilities. That's the biggest word coming from high school to now becoming an adult. Responsibilities. They're legit now. You gotta follow through. Thank you for your time.